Good evening. Welcome back to the Hoop Scoop. It's been a little while, but let's get into the next topic. This is video 5, and we're going to be looking at how to select the best brokerage account. Now, my wife already has a Robinhood account. However, all of our investments are on my Robinhood account, or they're on Tastytrade, which is where my Roth IRA is, or my wife's 401k, or she doesn't have, it's like a 403b. So that's where her investments are. Now, for the purpose of living off of your portfolio, you do have to be fairly intentional about which brokerages you want to use, because not all brokerages are created equal. And of course, one might ask, why do you even need a brokerage to buy stocks in the first place? You can buy stocks directly from the companies. Some companies will actually issue shares directly to stock purchasers. Even then, you're still going through an intermediary, but you're buying it directly from the company effectively. And they literally put your name on the shares that you own. So there's a lot of stock purchase and stock transfer plans that you can look up and go and buy shares directly. The only problem with these is they're a little bit slow, they're a little bit dated, and it just takes a lot of time for them to process and buy and sell, and you don't get instant liquidity on your investments. So this is in direct contrast with a brokerage platform. They, technically the broker, own all of the shares that they're purchasing on your behalf. And so when they buy the shares, they're technically buying them in their own name. But they're holding the shares for you, and they pass on that ownership and the control of that to you as the investor. And they have a direct relationship with you. And so you route your orders to the broker, and the broker can fill those orders on your behalf. And depending upon how the broker is structured, what kind of relationships they have, what sort of technology they've got, which markets they have access to, this determines what you can invest in, how quickly you can invest, and how much liquidity your investments have. Now, most brokerages these days do have access to a lot of the markets, definitely the US domestic markets. But there are also international markets, and not all brokers will actually let you trade international markets. So a lot of selecting a brokerage comes down to what you personally need and what they offer. And if they offer what you need, you can go with them. Now, for beginners, you can go with just about any brokerage. Probably the most beginner-friendly brokerages, though, are going to be your Robinhoods, your M1 Finances. There's another one that I'm forgetting at the moment. It's like something to do. Oh, Webull. That's right. Webull looks like it's a fairly beginner-friendly option. And these brokerages are excellent for beginners who just want to buy and sell stock. M1 Finance is probably the easiest to use, as you don't even have to learn or understand any of the trading lingo of the markets. You don't need to know what a bid or ask is. All you do is you say, hey, I want 5% of my money to go to this, 5% to go to that, 10% here, 20% here, and they create a little pie chart of the percentages you've allocated to each, and they allocate your money accordingly at the beginning or the ending of the market. Of course, with M1 Finance, you have the drawback in that if you're trying to buy and sell very quickly, if you want to take advantage of, if there's a big sell-off and you want to get your money in really quickly, You can't do that with M1 Finance because they only buy and sell at the beginning or the end of the day. Now, the benefit of this is you actually get much lower fees. They don't charge you any fees to do that. And so you're not paying anything for them to conduct these transactions. And rebalancing your portfolio is super simplified. They have a literally one-click button and your whole portfolio gets rebalanced. And the importance of rebalancing, which we'll get into in the future, but rebalancing your portfolio is very important because it allows you to profit off of the volatility in the markets. So now, as you're looking at these different brokerages, so we have M1 Finance, excellent beginner brokerage. Then we've got Robinhood, another excellent beginner brokerage. Robinhood would be a better brokerage for a beginner that wants to be directly involved in actively adjusting his positions in the market every day. M1 Finance is a much better platform for someone who wants to check their positions once a week or once a month or even once a quarter. And they'll come in once a quarter, let's say, every 3 months, hit the rebalance button, see how their investments are doing, and go on their merry way. Now, the charting tools, these are features that some brokers offer. Robinhood offers basic ones. Generally speaking, the more active a platform allows you to be, the more charting tools they're going to offer. So your higher end brokers will have lots of charting tools that you can take advantage of and customize. And then cash management features, which for the purposes of my family, for me and my wife, the cash management features are probably on the much more important end of things. And when I say cash management, I am simply referring to when you put money into your portfolio and when you have dividends coming into your portfolio, how are those dividends allocated? Are you able to automatically invest those dividends? Are you able to automatically pull that cash to your checking account or savings? Do they have a way for you to put that money to work immediately or reinvest them immediately? Most people let you select the auto invest, like dividend reinvestment plans. Those can be good, although I find I want my investments to be allocated to certain things. And so if you're simply reinvesting dividends, you're growing more of the same investment. I do like to have the flexibility to position the money more strategically. So M1 Finance allows you to create rules for how your money flows, if it goes to your savings or your checking. M1 Finance does give you a checking account, and you can set up a checking account with Robinhood, with Fidelity. I believe Schwab allows you to do that as well. So platforms that don't allow you to do that would be Tastytrade, Interactive Brokers, among others. So those are all things to consider when you're picking a broker. Now, in general, when it comes to our strategy, because we want that automation, Robinhood actually has very good automations for purchasing, and they have very, very affordable margin rates. And margin is simply when you are borrowing money from your broker to invest in the market. Now, they do charge an interest rate to use that money. However, due to the nature of the investments that we are putting our money into, we get a high rate of cash flow back, and that high rate of cash flow will pay down that margin faster. And so the idea is we are balancing margin with cash flow coming back in, and as those dividends come in, they automatically pay down the margin. And then I use Robinhood's auto invest feature, where they allow you to purchase, automatically buy a certain dollar amount of various stocks. You can do it every day, you can do it every week, you can do it every month. And I simply set that up, and as my dividends come in, they automatically get reinvested with that. That is a very powerful feature that a lot of brokers don't actually have or offer. Robinhood allows you to do that, M1 Finance allows you to do that. I have heard rumors that Fidelity might let you do something similar. I am not so sure about that, however. Now, the drawbacks, of course, to M1 Finance, Robinhood, is that they don't offer the best trading platforms. Robinhood's an okay trading platform. M1 Finance is an absolutely terrible trading platform. It's strictly a buy and hold investment platform. Now, if you actually want to be active trading, Tastytrade, Interactive Brokers, and Schwab, Fidelity as well, have excellent trading platforms to trade on. And I personally believe for options, Tastytrade is the best. Interactive Brokers has the strongest international exposure, so you can trade not just in the US, but overseas as well. And then Fidelity and Schwab are extremely powerful. I would say Fidelity might have the best all around, between allowing you to actively trade options, futures, and all that stuff, and then having the most cash management tools available beyond simply the investing trading part. So that would be how I would categorize the different brokerages. And then, why would you want to have more than one broker? Well, you don't want to put all of your eggs in one basket. And so brokers, according to the FINRA rules, anything over, I believe it's $250,000. I'm pretty sure that's the cap. Anything over $250,000, you could lose, as you are no longer insured on any investments that exceed that amount. Below that amount, FINRA covers you. Above that amount, you can lose it if something happened to the broker. And so by spreading out your investment, you're securing yourself in the event of a massive financial collapse. So that's just one area to consider. I'm not super concerned about a financial collapse. However, it is something to consider. Just black swan potential. So now, for my wife, Robinhood, M1 Finance, Fidelity, and Schwab are probably the best brokerages for her to allocate capital to from our death benefit, and to manage and position cash to create cash flow. And after that, if she's interested in actively trading, Tastytrade and Interactive Brokers. My wife's never really expressed any interest in actively trading, so I don't really expect her to, but you never know. So maybe some of you folks are interested in actively trading. So Tastytrade, Interactive Brokers, other people might find them good. But an interesting option as a runner-up, I've heard of a brokerage called Public, and I don't entirely understand their platform, so I need to do some research on them. But they seemed interesting, and if they offer anything similar to Robinhood, and it could be a potential option as well. But as of now, I don't really know that much about them. So they claim to be, I guess, Public's big thing is they're claiming to be the what's the phrase I'm looking for? The equal opportunity, everyday man's investing brokerage that's friendly to the masses, which is exactly what Robinhood is aiming to be, and M1 Finance. So, but I've not really seen anything to convince me that they're significantly better than Robinhood or M1 Finance. And when it comes to options, I haven't seen anything to beat Tastytrade yet. So, just my 2 cents on brokerages and which brokerages I tend to favor for investing for cash flow. If you want cash flow as a beginner, M1 Finance and Robinhood. If you want to trade as a beginner, probably Robinhood. If you want to trade options, definitely Tastytrade. If you want international trading, Interactive Brokers. If you just want the best all-around features with cash management and everything, probably Fidelity. So, and Schwab is a second runner-up after Fidelity for that. So, that'd be my list, and there you have it. Well, thank you very much for listening, and have you all a good evening.